All right, and joining me today is Aiemann Zahabi, who fights Jose Aldo at UFC 315. That fight, May 10th. So, obviously, Aiemann, we're going to talk about the fight. We're going to talk about fighting in Canada. We're going to talk about everything. But a few years ago, me and you did an interview, and we talked about the frequency of you fighting and getting more fights in, fighting more actively so you could move up these rankings. Give me a little taste. Has it been everything that you hoped it'd be?
It's coming, boys. It's coming. I feel like this is one is a quick turnaround for me, technically. Instead of fighting once a year, I'm fighting 6 months later. And I fought twice last year. So maybe we'll get three in this year. Who knows, man? Depends how much damage I take. Fighting Aldo is never easy, but I'm hoping to turn around summertime.
I like it. I like it. Now, obviously, this one is big too because it's not just a big name, which obviously we're going to talk about all that and stuff, but it's a big pay per view too, right? Like two title fights. It's in
Yeah.
Canada. Like how excited were you that they wanted you, not just, on a big card, but on the pay per view portion of it too?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm honored. Obviously, Aldo's carrying the team on this one. But, it's a good placement on the card just before the title fights, which is really an honor to get to do this. I've never fought that late, and it's an honor to get that opportunity of my biggest placement on a card in my hometown, which is really good. And the last time when I fought in Edmonton against Munoz, it was the first time the crowd ever cheered Zahabi, Zahabi. So it was like a real honor. Even like fighters their whole career, they never get their name chanted. So it's nice that it happened in Edmonton for me. And I'm hoping that, the Montreal fans really show out and, treat me well.
Well, I was going to say, you're saying Aldo's carrying it, but also you're the top Canadian on the card. That's the highest you get as a
Oh,
Canadian. Like, have
yeah.
you ever had that outside of the regionals?
No, it's great. I'm actually the number one ranked male Canadian fighter, right? So it's good. I'm happy that I earned the spot, as the number one male fighter for Canada, and it feels good to be there, to be at the top, and I want to represent on May 10th, and I've trained so I can have a great performance.
And I love that you're talking about like rising up the rankings right now because I wanted to ask, you've been in the sport for 12 years now, 12 years now, right? Like since
Yeah,
you turned pro, it's
yeah,
been a while. It's not like you're like a young spring chicken, but here
yeah.
are all these websites talking about prospect Aiemann Zahabi, right? Like they're talking about him being the up and comer to try to dethrone the veteran.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself at this stage in your career? Do you see yourself as kind of the prospect still that you're making your way up, or are you the grizzled veteran that people just forget is a grizzled veteran?
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea that I still feel like I'm rising. Actually, I just finished with practice yesterday with Frost, and I'm like, man, I've gotten so much better in this camp just for this fight. And he's like, yeah, he's like, you're still improving. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, I still feel 27. I feel like, I'm not getting old in that sense where like my body's aching every day and I'm not improving and whatever. Like, I'm still gaining every day. I'm still getting better every time. Every day passes, every month that passes, I'm improving. And I still feel kind of like a young buck. That's why I feel like there's no pressure on me on this fight. And I'd come to the conclusion also, like after the Munoz fight, like when they did give me the Aldo fight, I'm like, listen, if I beat Aldo, my next one's the bigger fight. And if I lose to Aldo, the next one's still my bigger fight because it's like the narrative is going to change a little bit and it matters now even more. So, like, no matter what you do, that's why it's so cliche when you ask fighters, like, is this the biggest fight? Yeah, every single time it's the biggest fight. And in that sense, I feel like a veteran now, too. And I have more fights in the UFC than I've had outside the UFC. So I feel like a veteran, but I still feel like there's a lot of upside potential. I feel like
Yeah.
room to go up.
Well, take me back to that idea of the potential and the growth because, like, so many people, when they get towards being in the sport for a decade, start to feel burnout, start to feel like they're kind of stagnant. I mean, you've been training at the same place too. It's not like you're training in a new place either. So, like, what's your secret for still feeling, that drive, that passion, and finding new things you can get better at?
Yeah, well, the passion comes from the gratitude. Like, absolutely love my life, and I can't believe I'm a professional fighter even at 37 and I'm living the dream and it pays for my life and I get to take my family on vacations, I have a nice house. We have the things that we need and I'm grateful to have to be able to provide the life I want doing what I love. So that's the number one. That's where the passion comes from for sure. And secondly, what keeps me on the cutting edge is my brother, for sure. For us, ever since we were young, he's always been looking to stay on the cutting edge of everything. So we're always at TriStar, we're always bringing in the best of the best and the different disciplines. So like in jiu-jitsu and boxing and striking and Muay Thai, wrestling. We have all these greats coming in through the door, and we're always learning from all of them. And obviously, JSP is a great mentor in that sense because like George, that's what he would do every training camp. Depending who he was fighting, he would find the best guy in the world to help him overcome that specialty. So we do that still a lot. Like even now, like I was when I found out I had got this fight, I was in California helping Nazrat finish up his camp, and I got to spar Cub Swanson for the first time. I was training with Juan Archuleta. I trained with Rafa Garcia. I trained with Danny Silva. Like I trained with so many different guys too that are like it really helps. I got to spar Enrico Kill. Enrico Kills he beat when Enrico was 22 years old. He beat Boacao. He's a world class Muay Thai guy. So I got still training with the best.
Yeah.
Got to train with the Ruotolo brothers. Got to
Yeah.
spar them both. Actually, it was cool. So it's like we love to learn from everybody, and we like to share our knowledge too. Of course, we're always sharing, and it's fun. It's what better life? What else could I be doing? What else would I be doing?
I love it. Now that you talked about going to California and training with some of those guys, but also, you guys are famous for bringing people in for camp. So
Yep.
can you give me a little bit of a snapshot of what your camp for Aldo looks like? Who's in your camp being Jose Aldo in your face?
Yeah, so some of the guys I want to bring in, some things happened, like they couldn't make it, right? So one of them was supposed to come, but then he got a short notice fight against a big name, like not in UFC, but outside UFC, and so he couldn't come to my training camp. Then my one of my teammates, who's in the UFC, was supposed to come help out mimic Aldo. He had an injury, so he couldn't make it. And a few other guys that we tried to bring in, they had fights coming up, so it didn't work out. So like the main guys that I had was Xavier Louis and Tariq Ismail, those two guys, and also Yanis Hazar. Those three guys really showed up to sparring and gave me the look I needed. So I was really grateful to them. And they're homegrown guys from TriStar, and I appreciate each and every one of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I want to talk about getting the call to fight Jose Aldo because you've been calling for big fights over and over again. And, Pedro Munoz is a big name, but
Yeah,
he's not a Jose Aldo big name, right? Like Jose
yeah,
Aldo is like the
yeah,
name in your division, or I mean, it used to be ahead of your division, but the
yeah.
name in the UFC lightweight division. So when they get you on the phone and they say, hey, we want you to fight in your home country against an absolute legend of the sport, what's your response to that? What was your reaction?
I was super excited, but it wasn't UFC who told me, it was Faraz. So Faraz had texted me, "Hey, I just got a call from UFC. They want you to fight Jose Aldo." But I was on my way to go watch the Lakers game with my friend Enrico. So I tell Enrico, I'm like, Enrico, they just offered me Jose Aldo. He's like, you gotta take it. He's like, who's to say you can't beat this guy? You have to take the chance. We believe in you. You can do it. This is your time to fly. So it was nice having Enrico there because he had accomplished so much when he was young. And we trained together, and he told me, he's like, look, so you can handle it. And then Frost said he was gonna watch tape, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I went. I enjoyed the Lakers game. It was a great game, fun game. And then when I saw Frost on Thursday morning, he asked me, so what I think. I'm like, listen, I think it's a great opportunity. It's win-win for me. Listen, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna perform for sure. If I get the win, amazing. If I don't get the win, but I look incredible. If I lose a split decision or something happens and it just doesn't go my way, but I look great against Jose, against one of the greatest of all time, it's good. It's only good,
Yeah.
And everybody wishes they could fight a guy like Aldo, a goat. Everybody wants to fight a goat, right? So then for us, like, yeah, he's like, I also think you're gonna win. So I'm like, perfect. So I'm like, let's take it. So then we said yes.
I love it. So tell me a little bit about, and you don't obviously have to give away the trade secrets here, but give me a little bit of the style breakdown of this fight because, again, you're talking about fighting, one of the better Muay Thai fighters maybe in history, guy
Yeah.
who's known for his leg kicks and
Yeah.
the bruise he left on Uriah Faber and everything else. So like, tell me about how you feel like you match up with him.
I think we match up great on the feet. I think I'm gonna have the advantage in the striking. I do think that he's given up on the leg kick as doesn't do it as often as before. That's the best way I can say it. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying for some reason or another, I don't know if he's broken his foot in the past, or maybe because he retired and went to boxing and then he fell in love with his hands more. And when he came back to MMA, he's kind of like more punch oriented than he is kick oriented. Like I don't know the reason, but yeah, we're coming in. Listen, the game plan is simple. Don't get low kick. That's number one. Don't get hit with a cross, and don't get hit with a left hook. If I can eliminate those three things, I think it goes pretty well for me. And he's got a good counter right knee too. It doesn't land very often, but he throws it very hard. So, I'm worried of the big strikes, and I'm gonna just try to put probability on my side. There's an overall strategy, but I'm taking this game not like a chess game, but more like a card game. So I have a deck of cards. I'm gonna start with a few cards in my hands, and if the some tactics don't work, I'll take two tactics, I'll put them out, replace them with two other tactics, and keep playing the game against him. So like we have an idea of what to do, and then we're willing to adapt throughout the fight.
I love it. Well, that kind of actually buckles my last question here because I love to end this thing with a
Yeah,
prediction. I always force one on
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So give me a prediction. How's this one end May 10th?
Listen, if I get what I want, I finish him. That would be, that's what I'm going for.
All right.
That's what
Well,
I'm going for.
yeah, that's what you heard it here first, folks. This has been Aiemann Zahabi, who fights Jose Aldo at UFC 315. Once again, that fight, May 10th. Aiemann, thank you so much for the time, man. I always appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.